only took 30 seconds. At the same time, we were left with a nice crust, but as soon as I sliced it, everything is still completely raw in the middle. You now have two options. You can eat it just as is and trust me, it's gonna be good. But if you desire a crust, go ahead and use a torch right on top. Now I tell you one thing, this has to be incredible.
You know what I actually think? I'm like, okay, I gotta steal something here. I'm gonna take this. Okay.
We're gonna fill up this ice tray so that we can preserve this liquid gold.
Imagine replacing ice cubes with that in someone's drink. Chef Brian Tsao here, not your typical chef, owner of Mission Sandwich Social, located in Williamsburg, Brooklyn, winner of Beef Bobby Flay Season 1, and today I'm gonna be reacting to Guga Foods. I deep fried steaks in bone marrow, and it changed everything with your favorite co-host, Chef Paul Frenchy, the Animal Dynamial. Before I go on with today's episode, I do want to give a special shout out to my amazing patrons, Sebastian Mock and Sebastian Posh. That's right, we got two Sebastians in this one shout out. Guys, thank you so much for your support. You, along with all the patrons, really do make a difference on this channel. And with that said, on to the reaction. Paul V. Give me my f***ing Vig Dynamial. Welcome back to Pro Chef React. It's not even a welcome back. You are the co-host of Pro Chef Reacts. The people demanded Paul, give me my f***ing Vig Dynamial, be the co-host of Pro Chef Reacts. Soon this channel can no longer be called the Chef Brian Tsao channel. We're gonna have to rename this to something else entirely.
Fat man and
We'll figure it out. Fobbin? I don't know. Frobbin? No, that's terrible. Today's gonna be a good day because my friend, do you know who
Guga?
Yeah!
This is one of the greatest things in the world. Steak, bread, and butter. We all know it's the most delicious combination, but I think today we're gonna make it even better. And that is by using this ingredient, bone marrow. It is known as the butter of the gods. And everything starts off with our steaks. These are New York strip.
What's the characteristic of a New York strip steak?
Looks like the island of Manhattan.
Oh, there you go. Oh, okay, yeah, I'll take that.
They are slightly frozen because for today's experiment, we must remove all of the silver skin and fat that comes in a New York strip. At the same time, we're going to be squaring the steak off. For today's experiment, this is exactly what you want. Now, the next thing that is quite important is to do something that is called dry
sexy
brine.
for some
This
reason.
is just a fancy word.
Never seen that done.
Yeah, I've never done it.
I mean, people are gonna say, "Oh, why are you wasting it?" But nothing goes to waste, people.
Yeah.
We will use, just because we're not making use of it for this recipe, nothing would go to waste if we were to do this. Like if we were to put this dish out and consistently cut off too much meat, none of it is going to waste.
Put salt on it and let it rest. Because once it was fully seasoned, the only thing left to do is to put it in the refrigerator and wait until the salt is completely gone.
So it sounds like he's like kind of doing a light cure.
He's prepping it.
He's prepping it for something.
Why? Did somebody tell him
Well,
something?
you saw that little bit of footage in the beginning. They deep fried it. So I'm assuming to maintain the breading, he wants to draw out as much of the moisture as possible.
Okay.
But he could have used dry aged steak in that case, rather than drawing out the moisture like that, right?
Maybe there's
that's just my opinion, but
maybe there's a reasoning behind the madness.
yeah. And with Guga, there is.
He's a mad scientist.
The first one is going to be this, bone marrow. I want you to notice that mine has been soaking for quite some time. Usually 24 hours is good enough. And the reason is because you want to remove as much blood inside of the bone marrow as possible. Because once you're done, it is nice and clean.
So when the bones come in, it has, blood within it. And basically when you soak it in water, it kind of, not equalizes is not the word.
It constricts, so everything, the blood gets pushed out.
Yeah.
But do you do that for aesthetics or for flavor?
I do it for aesthetics, but I salt the water.
So you're brining it.
Yeah.
Because I really don't do this.
Oh, no?
No.
Yeah, no.
Because I have a recipe that calls for
for it to get covered with the breadcrumbs,
a camouflage.
Yeah.
And I think that some of that could go to flavor too.
Yeah. True.
Unfortunately.
True.
But if you're going for a look, that's a perfect technique.
Next up is to go ahead and put it in the oven in the broiler setting. For today's video, we're going to be using the bone marrow as a butter. So we want to melt it down as much as possible, because what we're really after is this liquid gold. As you can see, it is extremely pure and clean. Now the next step is pretty simple. We're going to fill up this ice tray so that we can preserve this liquid gold. It only took me about an hour in the freezer. As once that was done, take a look at this. At least to me, it really now looks like the butter of the gods.
Imagine replacing ice cubes with that in someone's drink.
Not good.
No bueno.
It would be eating like a stick of chapstick.
Yeah.
Another fat I really enjoy is this one, duck fat. Today we're also going to be putting it against bone marrow. The process is exactly the same. I'm just going to put them on the ice tray, freeze it up, and they are now ready. The biggest difference is that duck fat melts quite quickly, so you got to keep it on your freezer at all times. But now that this is ready, I wanted to go ahead and make an awesome side dish for us today.
Look at that. The plating looks very similar to your
It
shrimp
does. I
dish,
was going to say that looks a lot like mine.
Yeah.
Except he made a creamy risotto, right?
Yeah.
He made a seafood risotto with grilled. Are they grilled or seared?
I think they're seared. They don't look grilled. Doesn't
I can't
look
tell,
like
but
much charring.
they're on a bias.
And this is my take on risotto. However, there's a twist. First, we're gonna start off with the shrimp. So into a bowl I threw in the shrimps, followed by fresh garlic, Guga's rub, followed by the bone marrow we just made. Now there's left to do is to mix it well and make sure that every single one of them is
Seeing
perfectly
you
coated.
smile.
Nothing
at
wrong.
Guga's hoot.
Nothing wrong with that, man. I never thought of putting bone marrow
On
fat in my
fucking
shrimp.
yeah.
God damn it.
Now into a pan, I scraped as much bone marrow as possible and started to cook them up. Keep in mind that shrimp cooks really quickly. As
That
soon
was
as you
right.
start
You
getting
did
a
do it
little
on
bit
the
of
pan.
coloration, it's time to flip. Once it's fully cooked, the next thing to do is to plate it up, and I'll tell you one thing.
By the curve of the shrimp, we already know that they're a little overcooked.
Yeah.
You don't want a complete circle. You want the shrimp to be about there.
Yeah.
That's your perfect measuring technique to cooking shrimp.
Nice little trick. Yeah. I actually never, I always did it by like the plumpness, because if you look at the shrimp, it does look a little tight.
Well, he didn't cut them, he didn't butterfly them enough.
Right. It does
So
look
they're gonna stay more.
But yeah, the full circle, very good point.
Do you want to explain butterfly?
Oh yeah. So shrimp curves like this, right? Shrimps like this. You cut it down the center, down its back, and basically opening it up and butterflying it. So
and
it
it
kind of
cooks it.
forms wings and
Exactly.
The bone marrow adds something special. Don't believe me? Well, you just wait and see. As now, the next step is this. Can't feed leeks. First thing to do is to go ahead and chop it up nice and fine. Then into a pan, throw in a good amount of butter, followed
a
by the
good flavor
leeks and a good
combination.
amount of white wine.
Yes.
Stir it a little bit to
leeks.
incorporate.
What's the flavor profile of
We're
leeks?
still in the onion family.
Yeah, but
you
very
know?
different. Very distinctly different.
It's the great grandfather to chive, scallions. What's between that and leeks? There's that new onion garlic. Did you see that? It was what is that? I haven't tried that
I
yet.
haven't really worked with it, no.
No?
I forgot what it's called. Anyway, I would say it's in that family. I would say chives is the most garlicky, peppery. I would say scallion is pungent, but not nearly as much as like a white onion. And I would say leeks is in the territory, but is definitely much more mellow
It's more mild.
and almost savory. Has like a rounded off savory note to it.
yeah,
What?
it's got a distinct taste.
Stir it a little bit to incorporate. Add some brown sugar and salt. Now you want to mix it and incorporate all the ingredients
Oh, what's
together.
confit mean?
Cooking in its own juices.
Yes.
Cooking in its own fat.
Technically, yes. It's supposed.
And now there people are confit everything.
Yeah.
So I do confit onions for the French onion soup burger, which means I do add fat to it to cook it down. And then I don't use the onions right away. I store them in the fat that I cook them overnight in the fridge and let them steep and cure. Can I use the word cure there?
I mean, when I think cure, more salting, but I know what you mean. It kind of like marinades, right? Like the flavors transfer.
And you just get a different flavor profile when you're reheating them.
Yeah.
It just tastes drastically different.
I get asked all the time, where am I sourcing my ingredients from? And truthfully, when it comes to a restaurant setting, you have your purveyors. And I shop differently for home. Many reasons. Usually my purveyors come in huge bulk, whereas when you go to the grocery store, everything is made for the home setting, right? Now, ultimately, I go with what's most convenient, and that's why I really like the sponsor of today's video, Good Chop. I don't know if you can tell, but I'm a pretty big guy. I like my protein, I like my meats, and Good Chop has an incredible variety of them where you can customize a box for yourself and have it shipped directly to your door. Everything from 100% grass-fed beef. There was wild-caught salmon. This is the real McCoy. I can tell just by looking at it. Also, there's free-range chicken, scallops, shrimp, pretty much anything you can think of. I also want to mention that all the products are sourced from the USA and it's free of antibiotics and hormones, which is extremely important for me, especially since I started taking my health a lot more seriously. For example, I took the bacon and fed it to my own daughter who loves bacon, including myself. And while bacon may not be the best thing for you on a daily basis, it's good to know that you're feeding your family with stuff that is free of antibiotics and hormones. Go to goodchop.com/YouTube and use the code chefbriantsao 120 or click the link in the caption below to get $120 off of your first 4 boxes today. Again, that's goodchop.com/YouTube and use the code chefbriantsao 120 or click the link in the caption below and get $120 off across your first 4 boxes today. Don't wait, do it, check it out. I promise you, you won't be disappointed.
Next up, we're gonna make a
Frenchie's
seafood
getting
stock.
mad.
These are the ingredients I like to use. We got shrimp, onions, celery,
It's
garlic,
your mirror plot.
carrots,
Yeah,
and
there you go. You
beans.
said you got
Into
to
a
it
pan,
first.
I throw everything in, followed by a good amount of water. Stir it a little bit and bring it to a boil. Then you want to let it simmer under medium heat for about 20 minutes. Because once you're done, your seafood stock is now ready.
Were you there when Guga was telling the story? He was trying to find shrimp for a risotto. And he was going to, is this the video?
This must be the video.
This must be the video.
Did he say he cooked shrimp for 20 minutes?
I think this stock.
Okay.
I'm surprised he put in whole shrimp.
I'm not finding any mistakes.
So if you're making a shrimp stock, I would not use whole shrimp. I would use shrimp shells. I would use shrimp heads. I would use shrimp tails. And those are all byproducts of processing shrimp typically.
And I would roast them first. Get that nice sear.
Yeah.
And
why? Why do you roast it?
you're extracting as much flavor as possible. And the caramelization, like same way you're going to sear a steak for that flavor, you're creating that Maillard effect.
Maillard reaction. To add to what you're saying, you know, you're concentrating the flavors because you're removing the moisture content when you roast it. So whether you do it in a pan or in the oven, the point is you're trying to reduce the moisture content to concentrate the flavor.
And if
even
you want to
further.
go an extra step, after roasting them, you could put them in a blender.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And then extract as much flavor as possible.
By putting it in a blender, you're chopping it up into tiny little pieces and you are increasing the surface area.
Yep.
So, and by increasing the surface area, you can have a greater extraction of flavor.
Into a pan, I threw in a good amount of butter. Once it was melted, I threw in some onions, followed by garlic. Mix it around a little bit and let it simmer. Then I added 2 cups of rice. We want to stir and combine all of the ingredients together. Then I added 1 cup of white wine. Mix everything well and keep stirring. Next up, I added the seafood stock. And again, keep mixing it nice and gentle. To give it a nice yellow color and taste, I threw in some ají amarillo, which you should be able to find it in any supermarket. Nice. Mix it well because this will instantly change the color. Move it nice and gentle so that the starch can be removed and add the seafood stock little by little.
Yeah, so that's how you get the yellow color of yellow, you know, Spanish rice, Spanish style yellow rice rather. But saffron is another way you can get it yellow. And sherry, I think that's a very French thing of you, you know. I'm not saying it in a negative way.
Yeah, I would agree. What happens if you add it all at the same time?
Basically, it's going to start to crumble and oversaturate, right? Because when you put in the stock and cook it in little by little, it's like you're not overwhelming the rice and it won't break apart as easily. It's not getting saturated by moisture. You're letting the heat do its thing where it's causing the rice to expand and absorb water, but you're not adding enough water because you're agitating it. That's the key thing. That's the difference between making a risotto and obviously the amount of stock. Making a risotto in something like white rice, like a Chinese white rice, is because you're not agitating it when you're just cooking white rice.
Your explanations are way too long. Why can't you be like short about it?
That's what I got you for.
Okay, I won't ask.
Well, what were you gonna? fucking say.
I
Big
was just
V.
saying, prevents you from making mistakes.
That too.
I mean, take a look how creamy it is. But we're not done yet. Notice that I did not add any salt. I went ahead and added Parmigiano Reggiano because the only thing left to do now is to stir it and mix it all together, and my incredible seafood risotto is ready.
God.
Now to plate it, it's pretty simple. I first started with the risotto, followed by that wonderful shrimp we just cooked, then the caramelized leeks, followed by a good amount of parsley. Now this is today's side dish. And I can tell you one thing.
The parsley, the grassy notes of the parsley against that creamy, heavy risotto and the leek confit. God damn! Guga! You have nothing to say.
I'm still focused. I'm focused right now. Leave me alone.
You are very focused.
I am.
Yeah, you are.
You know what I'm actually thinking? I'm like, okay, I gotta steal something. I gotta, okay, I'm gonna take this. Okay.
Another thing that will please everyone is the steaks. And by this time, they have been fully dry brined.
Okay. So I said he's like curing it. He's trying to remove the moisture content. That was intentionally. Put it on the rack, all the moisture dripped down.
And then you were right to say he could have used dry age.
Yeah, he could have used dry age.
You see this dark red coloration? It is a sign that the salt penetrated deeply in there. Because the next thing to do is to go ahead and bread it. First, I made a quick batter. It's a quick combination of eggs and all-purpose flour. This is the consistency you're looking for.
Like a heavy cream consistency, you know, a little thicker.
So to bread it, it's quite simple. First, it goes into the batter, followed by breadcrumbs. Just make sure you add
is
a
this
good
a
amount.
version of-
Oh, look, he used proper breading procedure. Well, he didn't dredge it, but
The
he
one
has
hand.
one hand. That's what I was looking for. He, moist hand, dry
So
hand.
is this basically a chicken fried steak?
I guess.
Did he double bread it?
I set my oil at
It
400
doesn't
degrees
look like it
Fahrenheit.
to me.
Threw it in there and it only took 30 seconds. At the same time, we were left with a nice crust, but as soon as I sliced it, everything is still completely raw in the middle, which is exactly what I was looking for.
Okay.
Now I went ahead and kept
Well,
slicing.
maybe he did double bread it. Look at how thick that bread
Yeah,
is.
right?
Yeah, you're right. No, he double breaded that.
it. We want nice thick slices. The only reason it was fried first was so that we can get a crispy crust, because now it's the real time to cook it. So I went ahead and got a hot plate and threw in my bone marrow. 3 little cubes was enough. As soon as it was melted, I went ahead and added my steaks. After about 1 minute, go ahead and flip. You now have 2 options. You can eat it just as is, and trust me, it's gonna be good. But if you desire a crust, go ahead and use a torch right on top. Now I tell you one thing, this has to be incredible. But remember, not only did I cook it with the bone marrow, I also did it with the butter and duck fat. As the goal of this video is to find out which one is better. The only
he's
thing left to
using
do is to go ahead and
the
give it a
bone as a
try and
canoe,
let you
as like a
know.
delivery
So now I
system.
say, it is enough talking and it is time to eat. So let's do it.
That's another thing, like that's trending, like that you see people doing shots with the bone marrow.
Oh, really?
Like bone, yeah. So you eat the bone marrow, then you do a shot into the bone into your mouth.
Hell yeah. I want to do that with you. Big Vig.
Big, big.
Big Vig.
Now, the question is too much fat too good? Well, we're about to find out. All right, let's go this direction here. Please dig in. Now,
Butter-fried
honestly, on a
steak.
restaurant setting, this will be served with a hot plate. Yes, caramba!
Ay, pinche cabra.
That's not a face you usually see
No.
Guga make.
You see, like when you told me we were gonna do this, I thought that we were gonna just do that one step of deep frying it in like a tub of
Yeah.
bone marrow, and then
That's what I thought too. I just saw the title and the thumbnail.
he threw us
Wasn't
for a
sure.
loop there.
Yeah, he did.
With all that being said, enough talking. Let's give it a go. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Got him. No.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yo, that is amazing, everybody.
I thought that crust was gonna be a lot crispier. No, it's almost like French toast. It's fluffy. It has a hard exterior. That meat
I want
is
some steak
delicious.
French toast.
Yes, I agree 100%.
Super beefy, very rich. That is a 10 out of 10.
This steak makes you want to dance.
Yes.
You know what I mean? It gives you one of these.
By the way, this one was fried in butter, so that's the first fat. Enough with that one. Let's jump into the second one. Please dig in, gentlemen.
fat.
I am very curious about this one.
Duck
Enough
fat.
talking. Let's give it a go. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
That is amazing, too.
That's good. That's
Wow.
You and I are really not saying much. We are just
I'm
yeah.
like, this is a good thing.
Yeah.
This is like when I get hypnotized, I'm like, oh god,
Yeah.
Like I want that. I'm hungry.
Yeah.
I'm salivating.
And like, you and I have.
I am speechless.
Yeah, which is not often.
Not often.
Not often.
Did
at
you
all.
want this last grape?
No, you can have it, baby.
Was it really asking?
Big Vig.
Big, big.
Big Vig really wasn't asking.
There's a different flavor there too. It's not as savory and as rich
It's
as
gonna
the
be
first
just
one.
as
It does
good as the
amplify
first one, it's just a
beefiness
different
little bit. Again,
flavor
that crust
profile.
is really
That's all
beautiful.
it is.
I have to say though, I'm more of a fan of the first one. It's equally as rich, but it's just not as salty.
Give me an honest opinion on this one, everybody. Cheers.
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 I don't want to describe anything yet. Let me go in for another bite. This is so freaking good.
If seafood always tastes like this, I would love seafood. The shrimp has an amazing flavor on it, and the risotto is extremely creamy, but it also has a seafood taste to it, but it's delicious.
Goes to show you, everybody, just because you don't like something, you gotta always keep trying because it expands your palate to new experiences, everybody. What do you think,
I
Leo?
have to congratulate you because this is probably one of the best side dishes we've had all year. That risotto
Hey, I made a side dish, you boob.
Hey,
What the hell?
so did I. We're heartbroken.
Very.
You said our side dishes were the best, and then you said my side dish was the best, and then you said his side dish was the best.
But mine was the best.
You.
There's a nice char on that shrimp, beautiful bone marrow, rich flavor that comes from it. That leek also adds a little bit
I
of
want that leek
sweetness
confit
too.
so bad.
Fantastic.
Highly recommend you giving it a try, everybody. It's great. But now, the last one.
I want to do a sandwich with some leek confit. That would be awesome.
Enough talking, let's give it a try. Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.
Bone marrow.
Hell yeah. Yes.
That crust is so good, and it also absorbs the juices from the beef. You have that beautiful piece of meat that's super savory, super rich. I love this.
I cannot agree more. The word that stood out to me when you were talking like for 5 hours is richness. Is this one rich?
Yeah.
That one is my winner, 100%.
Yeah, but the
Alright.
bone marrow's in line with the beef, so
Yeah.
of course it's gonna
matches,
pair.
it matches,
It's gonna
yeah.
pair really,
Yeah.
really well.
Can we get some bone marrow?
No. No, we have dinner reservations.
I know, but we can have a
No.
little snack.
No, no.
Please.
No. No.
As always, Guga never disappoints. This was a fun one. This
Yeah,
was
that's
fun.
side dish. As always, side
Yeah,
dishes.
you were very
I was
quiet for
speechless.
this one. Yeah.
I was.
And Big Vig always got something to say.
I do. But I was plotting there. I was like, okay, I gotta take that. I gotta remember that. I gotta take this. I gotta do that.
You gotta make sure you let Guga know.
No.
Why?
Let him know what.
Let him know that you'd be biting off.
You mean stealing his recipes?
Yeah.
You can't trademark recipes.
Oh, snap.
Snap.
Guess what, everybody? New merch drop. Frenchie, tell the people, what do we got here?
This is my favorite picture reinvented for You Wanna Get Fat.
Frenchie and I just launched our podcast, So You Want to Get Fat, available on YouTube as well as audio streaming platforms. But it is about our first official merch drop. Make sure you visit the link in the description below because pre-orders are now open, and once they close, that is it. So this is a limited time only merch drop. Make sure you get yours today. Visit the link in the description below. Tell them one more time.
Wait a second. That this is it? This finality? I don't like that in my life.
That is it, buddy.
But never ever.
But you and I get to make more merch drops.
But this is we're shooting for the sky. This is one of my favorite things about us.
Well, that's what makes it so special.
You wanted a short clip. This ain't gonna be short.
It's not short. Go visit the link in the description below.
Good luck.
God damn it. Before we close out this episode, I do want to say thank you to all of my amazing patrons. Guys, thank you so much for your support. And remember, for the rest of you, by becoming a patron, you get to take advantage of some awesome perks like early access to new episodes, uncensored extended versions of certain episodes, and most importantly, patron exclusive content. All right, everybody. Hope you enjoyed this video as much as we did making it. And remember, don't be afraid to fail because it can only make you stronger. And with that said, I'm Chef Brian Tsao, not your typical chef.
Frenchie. Au revoir.
Bye.
I love
White cam.
I love keeping it simple.
Find a silence